RICO and the internet. If you're doing illegal stuff, if you're doing anything that could put you in jail as well as incriminate other people, I'm gonna add some more. I would suggest you leave your smartphones alone, leave these new developed phone cars alone, and stop doing illegal shit that can get you caught. Because right now, the way the internet is, Wi-Fi, and just the whole construct of artificial intelligence and machine learning, we as in blacks are not predominantly the one running the show when it comes to the internet, unless it's the capabilities of circumventing things and hacking and things like that. We could have that ability if our minds were there. But those that are scamming, doing their stuff, your text messages show what you're doing. The phone companies you show what you're doing. Burner phones, all these different things. These companies have your data. So if they're able to timestamp when you did something, around what cell towers you did it, and are able to get at other devices that were in that area during the time, and you happen to really, really, really be there for real, that's it. It's a wrap, and then they just present that information to you, or if they overheard you through Alexa or other devices that are listening to you, like your phone and everything else, that could possibly have Wi-Fi too. Um, and when it goes from voice to text, you guys have seen what voice to text is. The fact that they have that capability, what do you think the police are using to rope people up and then have them sign their own words as confessions, without them having to divulge that information right then and there during the interrogation, but just say, okay, this is what you said at this time, whatever. Well, let me show you this, and let me run this and whatever. And it's like, I don't know how it's going inside, but I just really don't appreciate a lot of people who have been roped by the feds the last 10 to 20 years, because they also use the same type of information or capabilities to rope them too. So those in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, why weren't you warning these youth about wiretaps and how they're doing it, Um, even if you couldn't outwardly come out and warn, at least deter them from using Clubhouse and their Instagram lives and being on Fedbook. Like, everyone says Fedbook, but they still are on it. They still are letting the feds know who's your sister, who's your cousin, who's this, who's that. Like, all these profile features and things like that to better understand you also helps when there's a illegal aspect as well, or if they just want information on you, as well as people using it to blackmail. What else? So many ways this technology can be used for bad. And being black, you tend to always be at the bottom for everything, whether it's the guinea pig aspect in the healthcare system, technology as well. You have to have them go in and program to be more fair to those of different ethnicities. I mean, it's made for who this country was made for. Um, and it's so true. I don't care for Hassan Campbell, but it's true. We need to fix how they view us in the Constitution as well as in society before we start thinking that we've arrived. Because a lot of people are getting rich within our black community off of us, but they're not warning or protecting us. They either just join along, just like with the Elon Musk situation, warning, and then he's just make his money. And at the end of the day, you can't really blame, because you try to warn people, and they, instead of take your warnings, they rather either keep you down and stuff and play around with you. And I've just had to come to the realization, looking at stuff and just seeing how much I just troubling. I hate to see youth get their life, just throw their life away, but also be led astray. That's not fair. That's even a worse type of entrapment, because you've ingrained that in them and they still don't get it. Your video games are snitching on you. PS4 is snitching on you. Xbox is snitching on you. All these things are like, there's nothing private. There never was. Once it's on the internet, Wi Fi, or in a network on a computer, it's not private because anybody that has access to that network sees what you're doing, what files you've saved, what data you have. And computers and bots work that way. They get on a page, transcription. They transcribe everything. Certain information gets collected off rip by default and then go. And a lot of these things, they're lying to you when they tell you you can turn off certain things. So it's just a crazy, crazy situation. They're going to sell back to your privacy. So they already been doing it. It is what it is. That should be off rip once you build a website. Your registry and all that stuff should be private, but they charge you for that. It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I just hope that you Haitian American youth techies online use the web wisely and just know nothing is private online at all. And just hope that they're able to like when these companies say they don't know who did what, that's a darn lie. They know exactly. They know whose IP. That IP is connected to someone's device identification numbers. That IP is connected to a device that is around a cell tower that they can get the location. There's just a lot of things, especially with stuff that I went through and being lied to. It's like these people were laughing in my face, but you're telling me about stuff that's on my timeline. So how the hell are you getting on my timeline? So there's things like Pegasus, Stingray out there. Um, Learn about spoofing, learn about the phone codes and stuff like that. Like they'll purposely put information online just to see who's gravitating to it, and then they'll just follow those individuals. Patterns of people who are looking to do illegal shit, or patterns of deviance, or patterns, just any type of patterns makes them cluster in certain locations, and that's sort of how advertising works online too. There's a special identifying number that Google has connected to all IPs browsing certain things, and that helps with advertising and being able to prompt when you go into other apps or other windows. All of a sudden you see an ad for something you spoke on that it overheard, the machine learning overheard, or that you typed in or searched for. It's crazy. It's too much. And then the NSA, if you're considered a terrorist, which gang stuff is terrorism, um, that opens a whole much more of a can of worms for someone where they're going to be able to get more information. But they've always been, so it's not something that they're just doing now. Just even with the Young Thug thing, they're going back in time with him because there are situations that they've gotten intel data and stuff during a time frame, and they now were able to connect the dots even more. It's crazy. It's gonna go crazier. It's gonna go worse, get worse and worse, worse. It's gonna get worse, worse and worse. Anyways, have a great Saturday. That hair and stuff is getting longer. I'm waiting for my clothes to dry. Yeah, so anyways, you see that eczema on my face? That eczema, the lights show it. I got eczema. Anyways, have a great day. I'll put stuff in. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm.